All right, everyone, welcome back. So spare the rod. That's the new guidelines from the American Academy of Pediatrics. And the doctors say spanking a child is never healthy. And they're urging schools and parents to completely avoid using spanking as a form of discipline. So currently, corporal punishment is allowed in schools in 23 states. Now, here in Florida, it's left up to individual school districts to ban or allow corporal punishment. Duval schools banned the practice in 2005. The AAP says 70,000 students a year are hit as a punishment in schools. And the data shows actually that black students are more than 3 times as likely to be spanked. And it's not just in school. The Brookings Institute says 81% of parents believe that spanking their child is appropriate. Over 30% of children experience some form of corporal punishment at least once a year. The AAP also encourages parents to not spank, hit, threaten, or shame when disciplining children. Instead, parents are encouraged to use positive reinforcement, also limits, and redirecting to the correct behavior. So joining us this morning is Lori Osachy, therapist with Body Image Counseling. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Good morning.
Good morning. So first off, can you explain more about why the AAP urges parents to not spank children and what kind of harm it says that this could pose?
Well, studies have shown that corporal punishment may end the behavior in the short term, but in the long term, it can create all other kinds of problems. And so it can create problems with the children becoming violent themselves when they get older, having anger management problems, also having low self-esteem and depression and anxiety. So it's really a short-term solution that doesn't work in the long term. And in the short term, it's not that great either.
So as a professional, can you shed some light on why you believe corporal punishment is so common, and how can parents learn some new discipline tools?
Well, I think sometimes, parents were hit themselves when they were kids, so that's what they learned. And we kind of parent the way we were parented. And I think parents do it a lot of the time because that's what they learned, and they think they want to raise kids that are good kids. So it's not wanting to hurt them a lot of the time, although there is a lot of child abuse and it is meant that way. But I think a lot of parents just learned it. And I also think that it's hard to raise kids and we can lose control and hit them when we're frustrated and angry.
Now, I'm just going to say it. Some people are going to disagree with this. What is your response to them about that?
Well, as I said, I understand that a lot of parents were raised that way themselves, and they really believe that's a good thing for their kids. They ended up all right, so their kids should end up all right and do well. But I would encourage them just to think about more of the long-term, deeper effects of it, that instilling fear in children does not necessarily make them into confident, productive adults in a way that using other disciplinary tactics would.
So how can parents avoid shaming or threatening their children? Any advice there?
Well, I would say to not use shaming, threatening language when you're disciplining a child, not to insult the child's person, but to talk about the action, and also to get kids involved in understanding why their action was wrong. A lot of times kids are super smart and they know what they did was wrong, and they can talk about it, and to encourage children to accept responsibility. And if you're frightened and fearing being hit, it's going to be harder to accept responsibility.
And real quick before we go, for families who may need some more help, can you talk about resources that are available?
Well, there are tons of parenting books that talk about positive discipline techniques. You can always go to counseling, and there are behavior therapists that can help a lot with that kind of issue. And so there's lots of help and resources available if you're just open to learning something different.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it, and have a great Saturday.
Thank you. You too.